Welcome to Comical Recovery. I'm your host with the most trauma, comedian Jessica Byrne, creator of the upcoming cartoon Buddies, winner of multiple East Coast comedy contests and 35 consecutive years of life experience in hard lessons at the School of Hard Knocks. Subscribe, hit the like button for recognition, tell all your friends about your new addiction, because sharing is caring. Welcome back, everyone. Today's topic is detoxing friendships. Excuse my voice, I seem to be going in and out of having one. So I wanted to expand on this idea of toxic friendships. It is inclusive to toxic relationships with partners. Sometimes as women or after the cycle of abuse, there is a people-pleasing or the fog that happens, which is fear, obligation, and guilt, because it happens all together and it's a real fun time, can keep us locked into the subconscious mind and shutting down the conscious mind because we're in survival mode. And along with that, there is a cost at being around people that don't respect your boundaries, drain your energy, even small infractions of not respecting boundaries, creating guilt trips, especially when you're on a healing journey. Other people, if they're on this journey with you, are not always in the spiritual classroom that you are in, or perhaps the same grade or level. And it's not a competition. I bring that up because it's good to be aware that everyone's on their own path and at their own education level and willingness with said topic. So all of that being said, I think it's important to know who to distance yourself from and who not to. And part of that is gauging your energy level after being around someone. I know I enjoy being around someone if I feel creative afterwards and inspired. So, by detoxing friendships, I don't mean excommunicating people out of my life. I mean seeking out people with similar mindsets to expand my mindset and to draw me closer to the kind of person that I want to be. So, when we're around toxic or draining people, at least for me, I get lost in trying to solve someone's problems and maybe they don't want their problems solved. And that's the wrong way to help anyone, in my opinion. I end up helping more people by practicing the right things in my own life. And I actually gain more energy that way because I'm not exhausting myself trying to put energy into something out of my control. People can be creature comforts when you're chasing after your dreams or aspire to change something in your life, whether it be diet or smoking or cursing or whatever other random thing you want to put in there. For me, it's good to know two things. How are these relationships serving me, and what purpose do they have? What are they giving me? And I don't mean that in a selfish way. I mean that in an equal way. Is it equal? Am I listening to my friend vent but never getting to vent? Or am I running around town for someone and they're not offering me gas and always asking favors? Is the relationship, friendship balanced? Not in a selfish way, in an equal way, so both people are getting energetically charged when they're together. So things that don't serve me don't have to be toxic, or at least so obviously toxic that I have to let it go. But if I'm aspiring to learn how to break dance, and none of my friends know how to break dance, and all of them have the habit of going to work and coming home and watching TV, I have to find people that are dancing. And I probably should find people that are not breakdancing, because I am not even dancing. So just obvious examples of, some people might call it consequences or maybe costs of chasing after your desires, or even just changing core beliefs that you have within you if you're just trying to emotionally heal. Because I can't emotionally heal and force certain family members to understand or respect new boundaries. I have to create boundaries by using an action. Boundaries are an action. They're not words. Talk is cheap for everyone, including me. When I say something, unless I put an action behind it, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And every little behavior counts. So when I surround myself with people that want to gossip, that influences me to do the same. Because I get something from that. Because my ego is inflated when I talk about the shortcomings of others. I'm really putting myself on a pedestal in comparison. That comes, down to eating habits, all of the habits. So finding out where to learn how to behave, and also defining the future identity. Because what I didn't realize is that all of these things that happened to me, and the PTSD and the ADHD, they were defining me. I have to be careful who I hang out with, because if I tolerate the victim mentality and I allow other people to be in that state, then there's a part of me that also enjoys the benefits of being a victim. If I'm a victim, I can't save myself. And if I'm a victim, I'm always looking for some solution in others. Someone to save me, and I'm helpless, So all of these habits, these character traits, these rituals, routines, behaviors, thoughts serve us, me, and in my past life, they served to protect me, and in my adult life, they're no longer serving me. And the people I put myself around are influencing me, whether I like it or not. They influence and impact the way I think and act. So I personally have been implementing different things so that I don't perpetuate those old habits. They're no longer serving me, they're self-defeating, and they discourage me and separate me mentally and emotionally with guilt, which prevents me from seeking out the new group of healthy, habit-filled people. And it also causes cognitive dissonance in my brain, which is this space of indecision where I'm mentally in a courtroom battling the old behavior with the new behavior, both sides rationalizing and justifying why they should still be a valid part or should be newly valid in my life. So, one of my new habits that I enjoy is hot yoga. And I went and talked to the teacher in the class before class started, and she and I were discussing this topic, and she mentioned to me that when the ears are separated, and if you put them together, like if I pop my ears off my head and put them together, they'd make a heart. And how what we hear influences how we feel and, about ourselves and our belief systems. I've always felt like I can be a sponge. I can be full of dirt. I can wring myself out. Yoga makes me think of that, I guess, because of that reason, especially hot yoga, because you're squeezing all the toxins out. And the best teachers will squeeze the mental toxins out of you as well and plant these beautiful little seeds of thought and enlightenment and knowledge that keep me coming back. And I love being around people that create a safe place and crave growth, because spaces like that do crave growth. I don't think that the gym always creates that atmosphere. I think there's a lot of pressure in the gym and surrounding the gym, societal and otherwise. But yoga is all about slowing down and sitting in discomfort, which is a part of life. But when we have friendships and relationships, sitting in discomfort for long periods of time is not a part of life that is mandatory. We don't have to subject ourselves to bad behavior, no matter where it comes from, or bad habits. Detoxing Friendships is really about making room to give me more of what I need and the space to discover that. The space to evaluate the cost and benefits of the relationships that I have. Sometimes just a break is needed to grow separately. And other times the cord needs to be cut and there is no growth for that friendship or relationship. So after much thought and therapy, the solutions are really about self-care and having an internal guiding system. It's also about stress management for me, because along this discovery, I've found that I want to be taken care of. And part of that's being a woman, I think, but also from not being able to get that as I would have liked in my childhood. So we seek that stuff out, at least I do. So preparing for reoccurrences of old behavior to come up and having a plan of self-talk, creating an expectation list for personal needs and the needs of others in my life is another thing that I am doing. Boundaries, that's a practice that's new to me. Like I said before, it's an action, which is really the biggest part of my discovery. And today in therapy, we were talking about 3 requirements of having a boundary and maintaining it. So it's keeping it simple, having it be something that I am in control of, and something that I am willing to do. So if it is out of my control, it's a lot harder to maintain the boundary. So if it was something that was out of my control, I'd have to ask myself, how can I change that? And just asking those questions, how can I change my willingness? How can I make this more simplified? The book that I would say that has been most helpful is Addicted to a Person, because there are certain things that bound us to people. Defining our needs is the first step. Without knowing my needs in and out of a relationship, whether it be a friend, work, or intimate partner, I have the chance of falling into that old behavior of looking outside of myself instead of seeing if I can meet that need in a different way. If my needs are undefined, then I'm left with a blank canvas, and anyone can get involved and fill in the blanks, and it's all on me because I failed to pick up the paintbrush and fill it in myself to my own liking and desire. My therapist says that we fall into the routines of our partners, our jobs, and our friendships, any of the groups of people that we hang out with. We fit in to meet the standards of the group for fear of being outcasted. And it's human nature. The directions come from subconscious programming of the mind. My goal is to find some people in my life willing to join parts of my routine and me join parts of theirs, to create routines together that fits both of our needs and maintains boundaries and personal time. The goal is trusting healthy relationships outside of a relationship to maintain balance. And that starts with a trusting, healthy relationship with myself. Where have I let myself down, and how can I make that up to me? How can I start making an amends for my personal choices that didn't turn out the way that I would have liked? That's a new one from my therapist too. You're welcome. We are working on sentence structure and positive self-talk. All of this stuff has an effect on the body. And there's a really good book that I'll probably reference I just got, and it's called The Body Keeps Score. They have solutions that are more therapeutic, which are EMDR, tapping, meditation, yoga, therapy, 12 steps. Psychopath Free is a great book referral as well. And all of these things, including Al-Anon, are good references to focus more on yourself, learn how to detox from toxic behaviors that spark the same receptors as gambling. So it's addiction when we go into an abuse cycle. And all of this stuff is all practice, and I think that my most important takeaway always is to not beat myself up, turning my relationship with myself from enemy to friends, not frenemy. We've done that one too. But to friend. In fact, best friend and advocate. That's what self needs to be for me in order for it to be healthy, productive, and really worthwhile. So, happy detoxing from your toxic relationships. Find a group of friends that supports and understands you, that will cheerlead you, because leaving any toxic situation is a very tricky thing, especially if it's your parent or a lover, because there are people that don't understand the process of getting out of certain situations that will unintentionally victim shame, which actually perpetuates the victim to stay in their abusive relationship, because the way that we think is, or at least for me as a victim of abuse, is my brain tells me, well, no one's going to support you. You're going to be on your own and be a leper. So you may as well stay with the only person that does give you little crumbs of attention and comfort, because that's all we have now. Everything else I've fucked up, just like this relationship, and back to self-blame, etc. It's a deep, dark hole. It's a slippery slope. It's all of those deliciously dark things. Don't ask me why I said delicious. I don't know. It's the word that came out. If you don't know that this is a weird place to stop by now, keep listening. Anyways, guys and gals, and all of us, thank you for joining me for another episode of Comical Recovery. I could sit here and judge myself, but we'll save that for another time. Actually, we're going to go more solution-based and into how to recover. That is the goal. So remember, recovery comes in layers, and laughter is the best medicine. Thank you for listening, sharing, subscribing, and passing me around like your favorite doobie. See you next time for more Comical Recovery with your friend and host, comedian Jessica Byrne. I hope you all have a great rest of your week and an abundance of healing for your future.